Thank you.
I like it.
Yeah. This was a client gift, which I was very grateful for.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
like it a
welcome. Oh,
lot.
thank you very much. Welcome everyone. We're just talking
Yes.
fashion
About
and
Shane's
apparel.
blue shirt. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. It's comfortable. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for
and you
sure.
know what I like about it is that color. Like, you know, I feel like men, they've got like navy, gray, and black and brown.
Yeah. I got
And
three of
so,
those.
right. So then when there is like a brighter blue or
Little royal blue showing up.
yeah, that's right. Or a little
Royal.
whiter gray, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
just a nice, I think it's I bought Jason a pair of pants that had like navy and that color in it. And I like it. I like it a lot.
That's cool.
So welcome everyone. It is foggy in the Carolinas, but it's going to be a balmy 70 degrees here. We're very excited about that. Sandal weather.
Good gracious.
We might be wearing jackets, but we're going to have sandals on. So, Shane, last week, I so enjoyed our conversation and evidently so did some people that watch because I got some feedback, really feedback around this idea that once I get a client, I do stumble through what to do next. Right. Yeah. And, now you are a coach and I really today, you guys, I would really, anticipate that you listen because Shane is, going to really kind of unpack how he got to where he is and still maintained the integrity of a coach. Yeah. Shane is not a coach consultant. Shane is not a coach consultant speaker. Shane is not a coach author. Shane is a coach. Now he could do all of those things. I'm not downgrading that or even shaming those of you that title yourselves that way. But I think that most often those multiple titles are our attempt to describe what we do.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you, your target market, the people you're selling to have been trained in such a way by something called the Google knowledge algorithm that most people don't even know is at play in the world. It's this invisible eye that moves around and trains us to behave in ways that we don't even know are happening.
How scary is that, by the way?
I know. But it's the world of technology. That's right. I've just come to accept it. And then I've come to learn how to train it. So I'm not controlled by it.
There you go. That's the key.
A machine, an algorithm, a piece of technology cannot control me, nor can it control you, but it is impacting, it is influencing your end user, the person that you're trying to get to, whether it's through live video or a podcast, or you're writing blogs, or you're doing reels on Instagram, or you're doing paid advertising, digital advertising, whether it's SEO or you've got a YouTube channel, or these things are at play for the people that are logging on to a URL address to find you. There is some things we have to know. And when we know the rules, we know what to do and what not to do.
That's right.
And part of that rule is understanding what it is they're looking for. Well, I'm here to tell you, they're not typing in coach, consultant, speaker, trainer, author.
Yep.
They are saying, how do I want, what do I do when, how do I say X? Okay. Like these are the phrases they're putting in to this Google knowledge algorithm. And where those things are shaped up from, you guys, is from something called worldview. Now, worldview is just simply all of the forces that impact who we are in this moment today, right? So we've got upbringing, we've got religious influence, we've got political influence, cultural influence, we've got our parents' influence of all these things passed down through generations. We've got positive influences. We've got negative influences. Some of this might show up for you as it did for me when I was younger around money, right? So I just grew up in a house where I perceived money came from somewhere and we just kept spending it.
Hey, we got checks. Keep writing them. That's kind of the philosophy. Yeah. Okay.
And when you get in trouble, the legal system will bail you. When you overspend, the legal system will bail you out, and then you get to start over. And there wasn't any training on like budgets and where money comes from and what you must do to get the money and what you must do to keep the money. And so my worldview around money was, well, it comes from somewhere. If I work long hours, if I'm gone so many hours a day, I'll always have enough money so I can just spend what I want. Yeah. And I learned very much the hard way. It just, that's not true. Yeah. And so my current self was, how do I budget? Right. So these are things I was typing in. How do I budget? How do I keep a checkbook? I was YouTubing. What is the word that I would always get hung up on? Oh, when you have to reconcile. What does reconcile mean? All right. So good. I'm Googling, what does reconcile mean? So now I'm getting information from banks and financial advisors. And even now in this climate we live in, financial coaches. Yep. Right. Yep. So there is a current position that your client is at, and there is a future position. So worldview says, I am here and I want to be here because I perceive that this is better than where I am. It is how we are made. We are always looking for to get to the thing that makes our heart sing.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
That's good. Yep, for sure.
Shane, is there anything you would add to that worldview journey or anything you've observed?
I think the person who you're uniquely designed to help does not know how to describe at all times where they want to be, nor where they are. Yes. Like they have these phrases, how do I, when do I, what is, so they're not saying, I want to have this much money so I can do these things. And right now I'm poor. like they don't necessarily communicate those things out. So there's a don't be looking for them to describe themselves in this ask, but their ask leads to where it is that they're wanting to go. And we have to be discerning, I think. And we've already talked about this when we looked at the 7 steps, as we looked at market research. Step 1 is where we gather a lot of the information about the people who we are uniquely created to go and serve, what it is that they want. Where is their there and how are they describing here? And the journey between there is what we get to help them do with our process, right? Whether you are a speaker or a trainer or a coach or a consultant. Yeah. Makes sense?
Yes. And so titles really just are not what people are buying. Or
titles are, this fires me up.
Go ahead, yes. Shane.
Titles are not what people buy. Like they're not buying a coach. A coach is a pathway for them to get from here to there. But a coach who cannot articulate and identify with that journey that they are currently on and where the roadblocks are is not going to get hired because they can't connect.
I want you to stop right there.
Man, I get fired up about this.
A coach or a consultant or an expert or a leader that cannot connect with the journey of the prospect from here to there,
it will not get hired.
You will not get hired.
Not consistently.
No, you'll get drips and drabs of business. There'll be a lot of negotiating, and the conversion period of time, that time frame will be very long if it comes through at all. That's right. And there's even a psychology around the speed of that process for the end user. I mean, people make decisions from emotions, and emotions have a very short lifespan, right? And we don't want to manipulate those emotions. Please don't hear me, because we really saw that a lot in those old 80s and early 90s films. Like, I don't know, I don't even know, but you would know them if you see like the guys in the suits and they're like, go, show me the money. That guy. I met that guy, Tom Cruise. Jerry. That's right. Whatever it takes to close the deal, we're going to close the deal. Okay. Like, no, friends, this is not where I'm going. I'm not like a hard, get the sale done in 24 hours. But what I have found is just what Shane is saying. When you can connect your work, what you do, to the journey of the person that needs the outcome from your work. Closing, you don't have to be a closer. You don't need a team of closers. You don't need proposals. You don't need assessments. You don't need garbage tactics that get you drippy drabby business if you get any at all.
So one quick thing here that I was just thinking about as you said that, and that Jerry Maguire movie was great, by the way. But what I wanted to make sure that I emphasized here was when you are not able to connect with this prospect's journey from here to there, when you're not able to identify with them on that journey and demonstrate how your work helps, you will get some business, right? And it will just be enough to get you to think something is wrong with you because it's not working consistently. And I want you to know you're not the problem. You are not the problem, right? Like, so there's more information that people can get on what is the framework that sets up well for increasing the business. It's steps 1 through 7 that we've talked about recently, right? You're not the problem. The system that you're using is what can be tweaked to get you some better results. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would even clarify further that once your system is how you deliver your process, right? And what Shane is talking about is you within the system, you and your process of moving, think of a conveyor belt, although we hate conveyor belts, but think of it like a fun ride at Disney. Maybe we reframe it, right? We're about to go up the awesome hill and go down the awesome hill, okay? Right. You in the car with the person, that is the process that when it is framed, boy, you've got a path to run on. Now, it doesn't mean that things cannot be flexible for that special person in the car with you. But more often than not, the system doesn't change for every new person. You're not changing. You're not getting off this ride and going over here to this ride with this person. And then even buying new tickets and taking a trip to a completely different land you've never been in and getting on a ride you know nothing about with these people, right? You're not doing that anymore. And I know that, I know, Shane, when we met, I could see very clearly you were wildly accomplished at helping people, right? I mean, you had really dedicated and committed years, 32 years, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
A long time.
One thing. And look, you just don't find that level of commitment and tenacity and perseverance in our market anymore because there's so many opportunities. We're jumping from one thing to the other, right? Yeah. And so, but there was clearly an obstacle. And I would really love for you, because you were leaving this role, this very high level executive role that you had started from nothing. It's not like you were awesome VP guy for 32 years. Right. You were the toilet cleaner.
Take the trash out.
Yeah.
Whatever's
and
required.
The VP, right?
Yeah.
So I would love for you to just share with us, how did you get to the point of framework?
So I did come out of a corporate background, and I had a great experience with someone coaching me that was transformational, and I got to the point where I was ready to go and do that for more people. And so when I left, I was a speaker trainer coach, right? Because I had spoken a lot in those years, and I had done a lot of training, and I'd done some coaching too, right? Like, so I was actually taught, hey, you got to position yourself with this speaker trainer coach so that people know, like, there are options for them to be able to choose from, to pick you. So when I exited thinking the title was going to be the thing that would open it up. If I was a speaker trainer coach, then I'd have multiple opportunities that I could choose from to be able to, to go and dive into. So for me, I struggled. Like, I was scrambling month to month. I door knocked. I did free stuff. I did videos. I did blogs. I did Facebook posts. I did everything I could think. I bought this guy and that girl and all the things that I could, and it would not get that movement that you were talking about just a minute ago. It wouldn't get that started. And so when you and I met, I was challenged to choose a lane, right? What is the framework that I am best at? right? Can I speak? Sure. Do I train? Yeah. But where is it that I get the greatest satisfaction and the people I work with get the highest value? Where do they get the most results from me? I can tell you it's not a speaker and a trainer. I could do it, but it's not where the highest value is. It's coaching, right? And so I had to take the risk that you were right. Right. And it was easy for me to be able to calculate that risk because I knew the journey that you had been on and the people that you had helped and that you were farther along than I was and you could help me if I got stuck. So the first step was trusting, that your process that had delivered for more than 10 years was going to do the same for me. And so I picked that lane. Then now, let me tell you what was fascinating to me. When I engaged in doing the market research, just a very short period of time that your process introduces clients to, right? Like, so when I got in there, I could not tell what people were saying because I was so focused on me and what I wanted, right? I was hung up on this idea of I'm a coach, I sell coaching, right? Like people don't buy coaching. People buy solutions to their problems. Coaching is the pathway that I happen to use to be able to get them there. Other people use different pathways, consultants, speakers, trainers. So for me, I had to really put down this idea of title is how I position my framework. It's like, no. John Maxwell said one time, Amy, and I believe you were there in the room when he said this. He said, if you want to add value to people, value what other people value. So as a coach, I value my coaching process. I value the years of training, the certification. I value all those things because they've helped me become a great coach. But that value is not what people purchase. If I want to add value to someone who wants to go from here to there, I have to value what they value, which you described as people going in saying, how do I, when do I, what do I, who does? Like I had to start valuing what they value. So now I talk to coaches from time to time and they get really conflicted on this idea, just like I did, because they're like, well, I can coach anybody, right? Like I can coach a person who's in, this space or a person who has this problem. Like, yes, you can. I could too. But who is it that you can begin to look and say, that's the person who I best serve? And how is it that they describe their journey from here to there up until now before meeting you? And how can you then begin communicating to them in that language versus coachees, right? Because they don't care about coachees, right? That vocabulary that we all as coaches have, they don't care about that. They care about the fact, in my case, they care about the fact that they have so many priorities that they cannot manage successfully, yet they don't know how to empower more people so that more work gets done. Like that's a consistent theme, right? So that's who I help best. So now I have to learn their vocabulary. I have to think about them more than I think about me. I have to put down, this title of coach and step in as the person who wants to come in and help them solve what their problem is using my process. Is this making sense? Or are you like, where are you going?
Yeah, no, it's so good. You're connecting the dots because I think it's important that people slow down and really hear that the reality is that people don't buy coaching. People don't buy consulting. People don't buy a book just to be awesome. People don't buy the speaker. They're buying what you have said. That moment with you is going to get them.
That's right.
And that's where we've got to really hone in. And that quote of, if you want to give people value what other people value.
Yes. That
is what we're talking about. And this is how technology operates. It knows by study, by equations that track patterns, that track repetitive phrases put into these algorithms. It is obsessed with the end user. It's not out there saying I'm an algorithm. Like you don't even know who these guys are that are building these algorithms.
That's right.
Nor
do you care. You just want to get your answer. That's all you want.
Right. That's
give me
right.
my answer. Yeah.
And that's where you're headed. And that's so good. It's so good. Keep going.
Yeah. So this idea of being obsessive about how the people you want to work with talk about their problem really matters, right? Because as a coach, there is a pathway from here to there, and your process gets them there, right? Like, so, but people don't buy that process, right? They buy the outcome that process gets them. So I had to really slow down. And even in the conversation where I was discovering whether or not this person, was someone I wanted to work with, if they had the capacity to do what I knew was required to do, to step into the process with me, like even in that there, I got to where I focused more on giving them feedback with their vocabulary, not mine, right? Like, again, this coaching, I could talk to them about coaching all day long and their eyes would glaze over. They don't care.
Right.
They just want to know with confidence, based on their interaction with me, I can take them from here to there. Well, how do I do that? I identify with their problem. That's valuing what they value, right? It's like, hey, I see that. Here's what I'm hearing you say. And then now when we get to the place where it's an opportunity for me to share that I can help them get from here to there, I talk to them about the ways in which we are going to eliminate those problems and what the specific outcomes are that they're going to experience. How we get there, I don't have to use all the coaching thing. I don't have to talk about all the different assessments I've got. I don't have to talk about all all that stuff. Yep. I don't have to do that, right? Because there's a confidence, a quiet confidence that can be demonstrated in that moment where you just say, look, I know where you are. And you use their words back to, and I know how to get you there. And here are the milestones we're going to hit. And this is where it's going to take you. And I've got that process, right?
Yeah.
Now
how did you get those 3 points? Right. That is the framework.
That's yes.
Because see, what Shane is saying is once I had a skeleton of the framework, like you don't even have to have the whole thing figured out, but you have to be paying attention. And then you have to know, how do I pay attention? What do you mean by paying attention?
Yes.
Well, once we have some criteria, it doesn't just affect the outcome of the person coming through. We now can speak specifically to what the tools of coaching, consulting, we can now speak to what the tools of assessments, we can now speak to the tools of metrics. Right. Why do all these things matter in the throughput process? We know exactly why they matter because we paid attention. We built a skeleton that gave us framework that filled in the process.
That's right.
That's how. So tell us, how did you get those 3 points?
Yeah. So I first, just thought about it for a minute. Like, okay, what are the tools that I do use to be able to help people define what is not working?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a set of tools that I use. I'm like, okay, but I had to start like, okay, I have all these tools. What are they for? Like, what do they do? Right. Like, so I grouped those two. I'm like, okay, well, there's a set of tools that I use that help people define what is not working. Right? And then now I could look and say, okay, there's another set of tools that helps people clarify what their priorities are so that now they can truly empower their people to be self-managed, right? And know what to do as they delegate. And then now the third place that I saw was there's a group of tools that I help people set these healthy boundaries so that the work doesn't just consume them, but they can with confidence allow those people in phase 2 that they set up to win to let them run. So it only came though, Amy, through many, many, many coaching conversations. Like I had to get in there to figure out what were these tools, what were these phases that I took people through. Like I had to start with a framework of the first phase that we work through, we're going to find out what's not working. The second phase, we're going to find out where the priorities are and get who needs to be operating. So I had to do it through interacting with clients and one type of client doing one thing over time, not shiny object. Here's a speaking opportunity. Like, ooh,
right.
Like, oh, here's a training opportunity. Like, so it's staying in that. Does this make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think that, for those of you watching, that process, what it looked like was a document provided to Shane that forced him to attend to the conversations. Now, and I want to be very clear here, Shane did not have a lot of clients. He had a lot of coaching conversations. So he chose to stay in the one-to-one conversation long enough, which is what a lot of coach, consultants, trainers, experts don't want to do because they want to get to the automated mailbox money process of courses, which actually is not mailbox money if you don't figure this out. This one-to-one and really being able to lay out and answer these questions, attending to this document given to Shane. And Shane just said, I'm going to attend to this document until I start to see patterns emerge in the conversations.
That's right. It was the clients who showed me the path.
Yes.
It wasn't me coming up with a path and like, no. Like through the interaction, I was like, boy, there's some consistency here. These people can't tell me what's broke.
Yeah.
I got to help them figure that out. Like, wow, where did that come from? It came from copious notes.
That's right.
In every coaching conversation. And then consistently looking and saying, what's emerging? What's emerging?
That's right.
And if you work with the one type of person long enough, that pattern does emerge if you're diligent and disciplined to stay in it, right?
And I found by using that same document, which is where it came from, my own experience. And you guys, I did not work out my attention to the details of the process with the client one-to-one. I was on corporate contracts when I finally decided to stop and say, I don't want to keep, when this contract runs out, I'm tired of the fear of where is the next one going to come from. I was done with the roller coaster of income and the roller coaster of what am I going to do next? What did I even do for these people? Where did they come from? Exactly what did we achieve here? They're getting what they want, but I don't know how I did it. I know I'm good at what I do, but I can't really tell someone else. Those are telltale signs that you are in need of a process that forces you to attend to building a framework.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And I find that people that don't have a framework, so, I work specifically with all of my clients in this process, and two things happen. They either lean into it and embrace it like you did, Shane, and like I did, or they just say, I'm just going to continue to wing it because this is too much work.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that has its own hard to it. And this has its own hard to it. This requires us to pay attention where we haven't. I do find that we make a lot more money that's more predictable. And I'm not just saying that like, because it's awesome. I'm saying that as someone that did both. This seemed easier because I didn't have to pay attention. But paying attention, which forced me to slow down, I actually went farther faster than I had over here. And I do see that happen with these two groups of clients. And I will say that you will find that fear of, can I really help this person, starts to dissipate the more you attend to the process, or as some people call it, what is it? Syndrome.
Imposter.
I don't know why. I just had a moment. Imposter syndrome. And you know why? It evades my awareness because I'm not in that space.
Yeah.
I don't deal with that because I attend, and that attending gives me the framework, the process, and the system. So I know when I sit in front of someone, are they the right writer for my ride? And when I know they're the right writer, I can say, I don't know if you're going to need 2 loops or 3, but what I know is that you need some loops, and I got them.
Some loops. Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
And I know how the loops work. I know they're safe. Yeah. The system isn't going to break. The process works. And so that is where we are headed with this conversation, is you being able to say with confidence, okay, I don't just have a system that gets me clients, but I have a process that is framed that I can speak to with confidence and say, I can help you. I can help you. Now, you might have some nuances and some angles because of different personalities and worldview of this writer that haven't yet emerged. But as a rule, what they are saying they want, you have helped 2, 3, 4, 5, or 500 people already get. It's just the process of now slowing down to frame it out so that you can fill it in. Then you can help more people with it. So Shane, before we go, is there anything else, on the tip of your tongue that you want to share?
I think it is just encouraging to reflect back on where I was, speaker, trainer, coach, to where I am today. And these steps that you're laying out in this conversation, they really do work if people are willing to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it enough time to work and do the attending that's required for the work to emerge, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear, questions, comments, input, feedback. We love it all. So you can comment below, or you can send me an email. I'll put that up there. And just remember that systems do run business, but people run the systems. You're the operator of the ride, my friend, but the rider dictates how fast or slow that ride is going to go. So I hope that you will take this information and sit with it, really, really unpack it, how it relates to your own processes. And we appreciate your time. We really enjoy it. Shane, thank you for just sharing with us. It's good stuff.
You're welcome.
Okay.